Hello again, it's me, that guy with the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing another review. Today, of course, as you can tell, we're going to be reviewing the Kyoto Revoltech Gamera 1996. And this is the box. Let's take a look at the box now. So for the box, there's not a whole lot to say about it really. And there's a picture of Gamera on the front, you got some stuff there. There's 44, Katakawa logo. Stuff, other figures. You can open this up, you can see stuff, cool. So as you can see, for detail, it's pretty nice. He's got a nice skin texture all over on his non-shelled parts. Toenails are painted nicely. Most of his bone protrusions are painted the same way as this. He's a navy blue color with a black wash over him. The shell is kind of an army green with a black wash over it. Plastron looks nice too. It's a little plasticky looking, but it's okay. The Revoltech joints are a little unsightly. The head sculpt is not too bad either. It is a little soft around the nose area. I think it should be a little more pointier and sharper looking. Teeth also kind of sit similar to how they did in Gamera 3, but it's a pretty good sculpt. And his mohawk is a little small. So that's it for detail. Now on to articulation. So for articulation, he can look up and down. He can also swivel around at both of the joints here. The shoulders can move in and out like that. Nice clicky revolver joints. There's another swivel about at the bicep. Elbows are on hinges. They're a lot clickier than that elbow was. You can hear there. And they can also swivel around there and there. Hands initially can just kind of move like that, but if you pull the joint out, rotate it around a little bit, you can get them to move like that and swivel a little bit. And let's go down like that because they work kind of like that in the movie. Legs move forward, not that far backward. They swivel around a little bit. Knees are hinged. Again, revolver joint, they can swivel around. Feet move up and down, swivel, and pivot. Hooray, everyone never shuts the fuck up about ankle pivot. There you go. Tail, swivels side to side, moves up and down. This is bendy wire, but it's shit. Never bend the wire. Basically consider the tail immobile from here down. So that's it for articulation. Before we get on to sizing, one thing I'd like to point out is that I forgot to mention his jaw is articulated. Right, back onto the review as planned. So for sizing, first off, here's the SH Monster Arts Gamera in 1996, which this just kind of shows how small and kind of meek this figure is and what really makes this the superior figure over this. A lot of it goes to sizing. Yeah, let's just show you what it looks like next to that. Next, here's a much more important comparison, Mother Legion, which this is the Bandai one, and you know, Gamera should be smaller than Mother Legion, but not this much smaller, so this is inaccurate. This doesn't really go well with a whole lot of anything. I mean, it's too big to go with this, too small to go with Monster Arts by just a hair on both sizes. But yeah, here's an another Monster Arts figure, SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1995 Rebirth version. This is probably not very accurate, but this is just to show you what he looks like next to a very, very common figure. Next, here's a figure that I can assure you 100% absolutely everybody has. NECA Godzilla 2014 6-inch version. This is again just to show you what Gamera looks like next to an extremely common figure. People who don't even collect Godzilla stuff have this figure. So anyways, as you can see, he's very small, so he would really go a lot better with either Revoltech figures or other very small figures. Here's another Revoltech figure. Oh, what's this? Here he is next to just a standard small figure, the Bandai Ultimate Monster Series Godzilla Final Wars. As you can see, he's seen a lot better days, but these two go quite well together, even though this is pre-posed and this is super articulated. But yeah, I would say this is one of the best Godzillas that this Gamera can go with. And the colors blend very well together, so then duke it out or whatever. And finally, here's the Godzilla 2014 Disappointment Edition. He's even smaller than Gamera. So before we get on to the final part of the review, accessories, because, you know, this figure actually comes with accessories. So first off, boring accessory, a little name placard that says G2 Gamera, Gamera 2, Advent of Legion, 1996. I don't know what that last thing says, hollow in the back. There's a little peg hole there. A lot of people wonder what the peg hole is for. Some of the figures that come with display stands, like actual display stands, little round discs, and that have pegs on them, you can peg this on there. Like I think the Alien and Daimajin, I don't know how you would say that, both have pegs like that, but yeah, there's that. Next, he comes with a standard orange Revoltech box. As you can see, there's 5 holes in the top, which are Revoltech sized, like the size of a joint, so you can peg one in there. Bottom has some Revoltech garb and their logo. Lid pops off, revealing the next accessory, which we will get onto right now. The Legion Soldier. Actually, this is a bad example, because that one has a sheared down leg for some reason. Give me a second. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, you know what? Give me a second here. So, yeah, now that I have him constrained and he won't easily go away, as you can see, the detail on this thing, just focus in on it a little better here. Yeah, as you can see anyways, the detail is actually pretty good on these. You can see he's got a really tiny little cyclopean eye in there. And it's pretty good. He's brown. I don't think they were brown in the movie, but it's whatever. It's got some yellow stripes. The sculpt is actually pretty good, but as you can see, if I bring in Gamera, who's already pretty tiny, you can see these things are relentlessly tiny. You know how tiny these are? Well, let me show you a few examples. First of all the ones except this one and the first one I pulled out have blue tack on them. That's because when I use these for taking pictures and stuff, which I haven't really done with these guys in a while, they have to be blue tacked down or else they will be lost. Because you get 7 of these. I only have 6. You want to guess what happened to the 7th one? Your guess is as good as mine, because I don't know where it went. Next, we get 3 more Legion soldiers, and this one is a flying Legion soldier. We get 3 of these little guys, and they're clear plastic with metallic purple. Yellow on some of their parts. They are pretty good. See, their wings are nice and they are clear. They come on these little clear stands, which they just pop apart there. And then you take the clear rod off the base. Pretty simple, and let me just put them in there. You get 3 of the little bastards, but these aren't as easy to lose. Next, rather than including an actual Legion pod, instead they have given us one of these pod spores. Yeah, this isn't one of the actual pods that appears in the movie. Well, this does appear in the movie, but not one of the ones that Gamera destroys or blows up or anything. Because this is actually, well, what it's based off is in the scene when the second pod appears in Sendai. There's a shot of a news camera filming it, and then there's all these roots coming up out of the ground, and they have little spores growing off of them of other pods. And yeah, this is one of the little spores, not an actual pod. That's kind of a shame, but whatever. If you want a pod, you can get the Iwakara one. But as you can see, it looks good. It's got stuff to look like debris of road where it's erupted out of the ground. We got all the roots and everything. There's a second spore growing off of this spore, sporeception. One thing that would have been cool is if there were little pegs on it, and if the Legion soldiers had pegs so you could actually peg them onto this. Just something so that you couldn't lose them. And it's translucent. I don't think that's a thing with Iwakara's painted version of the pod. I just dropped it. But to combat all this Legion stuff, Gamera needs something to fight them with, so he comes with a fireball. This is technically 2 plasma fireballs, one that's been shot out, and it looks like he's about to shoot out another. And as you can see, it's pretty well detailed. The sculpt is nice, it looks like fire. There's blue tack in the recesses of it from when I had it blue tacked to the roof of his mouth because he doesn't hold on to it very well. You can see this, it's white plastic, I believe, with the yellow and orange sprayed on. It looks pretty good. To get it on, you detach Gamera's jaw, which he has done so gracefully for us. And you just see that there, you just get that. This is a little tricky to do, but you just get it onto the joint for his jaw, just like so. And then you peg the jaw back in, and there you go. He is shooting off a plasma fireball. It is a solid piece, and it is a little weighty on the not so ratcheted joints, and yeah, that's why I would suggest putting a little bit of blue tack right there. If you're going to display him with it, putting a little bit of blue tack right there and just tacking it up to his mouth, I would suggest doing that. And finally, for accessories, Gamera comes with this. Now you're probably wondering, what the fuck is this thing? It looks like a orchid or something. Well, you're wrong. This is his open plastron for when he does his super final fuck you beam of death in the movie. Also just known as the mana cannon or mana beam or mana ray. There's like 900 names for it. This thing is a titanic bitch to take on and off with Gamera and swap out. As you can see, I broke it right there from trying to take it off because he comes with this thing on him in the package, and like this plastic fuses itself to him. You can see I cracked it right there, but I glued it. Anyways, once you take it off and put it on a few times, it becomes very easy. You just gotta loosen the one that... Actually, technically, this is the accessory, and this is the default piece, because he comes with this on, but it just feels better in considering this the accessory. Anyways, you just take that off, put it on, and bam. And as you can see, in there is all sculpted in for you already. And I actually I really prefer this to the Monster Arts. Just the panels are opened in a much more accurate way. I mean, yeah, you can't... The Monster Arts was better that the core was translucent and you could put lights inside of it, but I like the way it's painted in there better than the Monster Arts. So yeah, that's it for accessories. Now on to the final part of the review, history of the figure and pricing. So before we get started here, I just want to say if you can hear any loud bangs in the background, that's just because in between takes here, nature decided it would be a very convenient time to start thundering. So for history of the figure and pricing, this figure was originally released in 2011 alongside the Revoltech Mother Legion and was about $40, $45 depending on where you got it from, and you can still get it for that price today. That's what I got mine for from Amazon, and I'm sure if you look around, you can find it cheaper. And that was about a year ago. The same applies to now, basically. It's still as cheap as it was all those years ago. Because this figure is kind of like one of those Revoltech figures that is really expensive at first, and then just kind of goes down and stays down in price. So yeah, and for a rating, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10, just because he's actually a really good figure despite his size. And like the sculpt and paint apps, I would say are on par, if not better, than the Monster Arts version. And even if you have the Monster Arts version, I would still recommend picking him up just for the accessories, because they would display really nice with him. Because we have two things that go along with this Monster Arts Gamera. Well, Jack and shit, and Jack left town. So yeah, that's it for this review, and as I always say, Shamama Jamo, it means I accidentally ate the whole thing.